morning, everyone. Here it is, July 3rd, almost Independence Day. So I felt like I just now put this two and two together. You know, it's the day before Independence Day. Independence Day. And we, as sovereign, live, light beings of the universe, it is important that we acknowledge and recognize our own astral uniqueness. I had a friend, I noticed yesterday, I might have missed the post or a couple of days ago, had said, I was hoping to hear more stories from the road on this journey. Because gosh, so many people helped me get ready to go. I want to say really big thanks to Patrick Hauser and Douglas Feiner, Lore, oh my God, Tim and Connie, all my people from Austin, my wonderful lady Jill. I've probably missed you already. All of you people that supported me and helped me, the people that came to my shows, my 4 shows that I did to warm me up for this. So that gratitude is big and deep, and so I wanted to tell on this Independence Day that my own story of independence, of psychic independence and physical and addiction independence. So in September, on the 24th, I left Santa Fe, and I left my wife of almost 12 years. Sometimes things just end, and I had known for quite a while that it was over, and prepared to leave and tried to do that with as much integrity as I could, and I feel like I did that. And I came to Austin, back to my home since 1982. And I only knew one thing, and that is that I wanted to do the Living Tarot. It had been scratching me and itching my brain and my heart for years that I knew it was what I was designed to do. So I also knew that I had been living in a fog for quite a number of years, that I had been unhappy, and some of that unhappiness was recognizing that I wasn't following my life purpose, that I wasn't using the gifts that I had been given to the full extent possible. And you know, if you believe that this world is just hunky-dory and everything's going great and there's nothing really that needs to be changed, then just continue doing what you're doing. But I have a feeling most of us are feeling highly, highly disturbed and highly agitated at the state of the world right now. That is probably one of the most driving factors in my life, is that I feel like I have to do something. And when I read some of the posts on Facebook that people write back and forth and see the level of disrespect, to see the level of closed off inability to listen on all sides, and the rush to judgment that's happening in this world, I know that I know that I can help that. I know that the Living Tarot, the show that I do, can help that. I see it. I see it bring people together. I see it help people heal and grow and release this old shit. I have wept more times in the last 2 weeks than I have wept in a long time, because I feel something opening up, and it's a connection to other people that is beautiful. And some of it is the way that I naturally connect in the show to people when I work with them, and I feel their blockage, and the archetypes come through and tell me, sometimes slowly, sometimes they give me a flash of what to do, sometimes they lead me through strange interactions and rituals that are created to help people. And but eventually it always happens. There's a breaking point, there's a shift where people expand, because everyone wants to. They want to so bad. Everyone wants to feel like they belong. Everyone wants to feel like they found their purpose. Everyone wants to feel like they have found love, or they had left a relationship because it's not feeding them, and we get scared. I stayed in a relationship far too long because I wasn't strong. I actually lost my courage. And so the time from September 24th till right now, early on, I just knew that I had to give up everything, that I had to cleanse myself. And so I had been almost 30-year tobacco smoker. A lot of people didn't know it because I was so sneaky, you know. Many people did, but many people had, oh my God, you smoke? And they had this attitude about me, like they felt like, oh, well, you're so spiritual, or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that matters not. There's not one little bit. Tobacco, alcohol, I've been drinking, numbing incredibly regularly every day. 2-3 beers, love beer, wine. Smoking marijuana, love marijuana. It's an amazing tool. I overused it constantly. So by 10 o'clock in the evening, I was dead, and and so I gave all that up, and also recognized that my diet was the diet of my childhood. Oh my God, that's the like 60s. That's like Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops and chicken fried steak and comfort. Let's dull the senses, because things are so oppressed. And for years, I didn't care. My body could handle so much. God gave me a great body that could eat whatever I want, drink whatever I want. And for the most part, it hadn't showed, but I could feel like in my lungs I was getting raspier, and my voice, I finally was starting to sing, and I could feel like how it was affecting my voice. And it's like, God, you've got all these gifts, and yet you're masking and dulling yourself because you're in pain. And so I ended my relationship and started a relationship with myself. And in that relationship, I gave up wheat, I gave up sugar, I gave up caffeine. I started seeing a naturopath. A shout out to Elka Kniss at the Spring Wellness in Austin. And I started paying attention. And I was so messed up. God, early on, she's like, oh, we're just going to have to handle a few of these things at a time, because you were like all over the charts. Amazing me, my lungs bounced back very quickly. Thank you, God, that happened. And I began imagining doing this show, doing the Living Tarot. At some point, I'm going to do the story, the life, the history of the Living Tarot. I thought I was going to write a book. I don't know. Me sitting down writing a book, maybe someday. But maybe I'll tell it orally. Maybe it'll just be riffs and musings on strange memories that come popping back as I do the show now. But its working title is The Kings of Woo Woo. As long my word when I first started doing the Living Tarot. To me, I was the conductor on the woo woo choo choo, driving this 64 Greyhound bus with the trippiest people you would not believe. Oh my God. Sonia Sophia, you were a trip. Aslan, I don't even know what to say about the fairy girl. Um, Friends, family, people we met, Tamara, Kenny, my then partner Kirsten, my daughter Anais. Oh my God. But this time I knew that what I had to do was discover myself. I was discovering my physical body. I was moving back into my spiritual body. Started doing yoga. Jill introduced me to Pilates, which really was an amazing thing. Started helping my I have a lot of wrist trauma from years of really physical labor, and some major injuries in the construction, like drills that yank me. And anyway, so I have some arthritis in my wrist, but I don't really believe in arthritis. I think it's just a symptom of a bigger challenge. And so I noticed that the Pilates has started helping me, because it has firmed up the connection between my fingers and my hand and my wrist into my forearm and my bicep and tricep and shoulder girdle and into my chest and down into my belly. And that when I use my hand now, I try to always be consciously aware that I am connected to something much bigger, much like that we're learning how to do in this world, and that I try to teach people how to do in this show, to feel connected to something bigger, so we don't feel so isolated in the world. And I started a relationship, challenging, beautiful. You're supposed to never do that. I needed bounce back time. Well, I had been preparing for a long time to leave that relationship, because I knew it wasn't really serving me. And I loved her and I respected her, but it was time for me to do this, and this is what I'm doing. And so amidst all that, I start shopping for a bus, because I know that I need what I need. I know that I love buses. I know that they do something that nothing else can do. It's not an RV, it's a professional tool. I like good tools. I've always used and bought good tools when I do construction, when I did theater. So if you're going to tour and you're going to make a living on the road, then you get something that's designed to do that. And so I knew that I was going to buy a Greyhound style bus. I know that I like them. I know I can work on them because they're simple, especially the older ones. Like, I wouldn't buy a new one. They've got computers and all that. So I started looking all over the internet. All over the internet I looked. And when I bought my bus, our original bus, Lola, which was a 64 Greyhound, an MC5, that's the model number, by MCI Motor Coach Industries, who still makes buses. Been driving on them in RTD in Denver. It's really fun. And but I couldn't find exactly what I wanted. I wanted something that had a rear bedroom. A lot of them don't, because they're entertainer buses. Entertainer buses, like with rock and roll bands or the roadies travel in. There's bunks set up. There's usually a rear stateroom where everybody hangs out, because you got one group of people that like watching such and such TV up here, and another group that does like watching. So it's all about TVs. God, there's TVs everywhere. I don't need a TV. I don't want a TV. I don't watch TV. I don't need. That's another thing I gave up. I gave up all media. I stopped listening to NPR. I check in occasionally on New York Times, just to online, just to get the major stories, and usually don't even read them, because I was finding it was depressing me, and it was moving me out of my heart. And I think that's more than anything what I was trying to awaken, is this deadened heart. And searching for a bus is a good way for me to start moving out of that, because it sparked my imagination. When you're getting ready to do something really big, you're gonna make a big life change, then you do those things and you start creating those searches for the things that really spark you. And a bus is one of the things that sparked me because it's a physical manifestation of your vision. And maybe not everything that you do is going to have a physical manifestation, but it's like for me, like I think where I'm at now, I started with the fool's journey, the spark, the step off the cliff. Now I'm in the next card of the tarot, which is the magician, the manifesting from nothing into something. And so it's kind of like where I was knowing that I'm heading out on the fool's journey and being an archetypal believer and student and manifester. I knew that I was on a journey and that I had to follow my instincts, and spirit was going to guide me and show me things. And sure enough, I looked all over the country and contacted a few people and thought about going to Indiana to look at something in this, but God, people lie and they tell you, and you're like, does it smell? And then you go there and you're like, did cats or rats live in this for about 4 years? Oh, how long has it been since it's run? Oh, these tires look good, but they're cracked and they're old, and I'm going to start having flats as soon as I drive back. So it's challenging buying a big, vehicle from far away. And on a lark, I called the very company that I had bought Lola from, our original 1964 Greyhound bus. That bus had I think it had 38 seats or something like that. It was the 35-foot bus. Lolita now is a 40-foot bus. And I had to do everything. I put bunks in it and an office and solar panels on the roof, a kitchen, a really nice solar system. But now I knew that I didn't have the time. I didn't want to start from scratch. It's so much work, and it's expensive. It's expensive to do all that. I didn't have the time for that because I had set a goal for myself. On my birthday, I had a big party, my band played, and I set the intention of being completely out of construction and making my living, doing the living tarot, doing performance of any kind, doing things that fed my soul. And that was my goal, and knowing that, like, don't be too specific because the universe is playful and wants you to succeed, so be open to the way energy flows. I called the bus company on a lark. I wonder if they're even in business still, because they were old. I mean, the woman that Krause Bus Company, has a big shout out to them. I know not everybody's looking for a bus, but if you are, those guys are straight up, man. They are funny, and they are the Krause brothers, and those guys have saved my life a couple times now. And I called them up because the matriarch of the family at that point was 70, and she headed up the office. And then Byron and Junior were the two brothers, Krauses. And Dorsey goes by Junior, Dorsey Krause and Byron Krause. And they taught me how to drive a double clutch 4-speed. So anyway, I thought, God, they're probably not even in business anymore. They were older than me, and they're probably retired. Look it up on the internet, call Krause Bus. Junior answers the phone, just straight up. Which now I call them and they never answer the phone, so I don't know how I got so lucky. It's Junior. Junior, this is David Rose. I don't know if you remember me, but I bought a 1964 MC5 from you about 20 years ago. I remember you. Golly, we saved your ass, which was true. I was going to buy this piece of shit old Silver Eagle that had all these problems for $30,000. And they educated me real quick, and they said, well, we have got this 64 bus that is really nice, been really well taken care of by a school district up in the Panhandle. True to its word, is beautiful bus, and reams of paperwork. Every little light bulb that got changed, every time they washed it, it was all written down. And you can tell when something's been loved, and I could tell that bus had been loved. So I said, well, Junior, I'm doing it again. I need a bus. And he's like, oh, I've got exactly what you need. You're not going to believe this. And he says, yeah, I've got an 81 entertainer bus, and you're just going to have to see it. You're just going to have to see it. And, when can you come down? And he said, I'll make you a great deal. And so I said, okay. And I think, I don't know, that was a Wednesday, and I was all scheduled to work, so I said I'll come down Saturday. Went down with my friend Wendy Green, and she wanted to go with her son, and we drove down there, and oh my God, he didn't even send me a picture. I have no idea. I do not what I was going to see, and I see this beautiful blue bus with some very tasteful. Not a painting, graphics, with gold, and I love gold. Gold's like the spiritual color, baby, and blue's my color. And there it was, just sitting there, shiny and pretty gorgeous. I mean, a gorgeous bus. And I looked at it, and I walked on it, and it was exactly to a T, exactly what I was looking for. It had a rear bedroom that was perfect, queen size bed. That's what I'm sitting in right now. It has a full size bathroom. It's got a full size shower. It's got 6 bunks. It's got 5 closets. I've never seen closets on there's very few little closet space on most entertainer buses. And a really nice front stateroom. The only thing it didn't have really was a kitchen. It had a little bitty sink, little bitty galley, as they call it, which was a room for a microwave and a little dorm size fridge, right? Because on an entertainer bus, let's be honest, it's like beer and soda and whiskey. And about the only thing that sink had ever seen was the rinsing out a whiskey glass, because it's just like people, they don't cook. If you're on the road, you eat out all the time. You travel at night. You get done with the show. You load in the bus. I've done this for years. You drive. You drive to the next theater. In the morning, you wake up. You stumble into the green room, and you've had your rider, and you told them what you like, what you want for breakfast, and there's like warmer trays of bad food and old eggs, and sometimes good coffee, sometimes bad coffee. And you take a shower in the theater's showers, which can range everywhere from really nice to the jankiest thing, and you're just disgusted. Sometimes you stay in hotels for breaks, but you travel at night, and you wake up in alleys and in parking lots and behind theaters. But this bus I could tell it had been really lightly used, because it was in amazing shape. And it was built in 81, and like this really well done interior that wasn't, I mean, I gotta tell you, sometimes, like, even my son travels on these brand new Prevost buses, and all the new buses, and I swear to God, it feels like you're in to me, it feels like you're in a porn movie in LA, in some fancy, millionaire's house with like mirrors everywhere and indirect lighting and televisions. And, like, to me, they don't, I want a home. This is going to be my home. I'm going to live in this. I have no desire to be glitz and glamour, and I don't want to watch TV. There's a lot of shit going on in this world that is really nice to participate in. So that's what we're going for. Anyway, long story. So I bought the bus. It stayed in San Antonio. I went back and forth from San Antonio. I only had about a week I could work on it. Just getting to know the bus, picking their brains. It was an automatic transmission. Lola was a 4-speed double clutch, which is hard as hell to drive. An automatic. Yeah, I put in a reverse camera. Gosh, I redid the battery system, because the house batteries is what powers the interior lighting. They were in the wrong place. I took out an air conditioning condenser and blah 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 blah. Anyway, I'll have a mechanical day for you, bus geeks, and I'll show you some stuff. But I scheduled 4 shows to prepare for this. They were amazing. It reminded me of how perfect the structure of the Living Tarot is. You know, I want to give great thanks to Kirsten Carter for having the dream that created Living Tarot. She was my partner at the time, and I'm very grateful. I would not take back any of that, as hard as our relationship was at times. I wouldn't take back any of it because it gave me the Living Tarot, and that has changed my life. And I think it's changed a lot of people's lives. I've seen babies born because of readings that were done. It was funny. It wasn't until like when I got the bus, I was like, 6 bunks, okay? I know I said 6 bunks, but is that because I'm going to form a troupe and there's going to be 6 people plus me? I didn't know. I thought that was kind of what was going to happen. So I was kind of like, oh, on this tour, I'm going to be looking for the 6 people. And then a couple weeks before I left, and I'd parked the bus at Laura's house. And Laura, you were my savior. I love you. You may never even see this. I don't even know if he does Facebook. But great community human being, a giver, like we all should be, could be, want to be, aspire to be. And I had this realization, like, wait, I've got 6 empty bunks. I mean, they were made up. They were like, each would have had a comforter and a sheet and like matching everything and a pillow, and it was like it was ready to go. And it had just been sitting for a couple of years, and somebody stopped touring, or they gave up the band, or who knows. I don't even know what the band's name was. I got to really research that. And I thought, God, you know, people want to go. I had decided to do a house concert in Santa Fe, where my naturopath, who had saved my body, Elka Kniss, thank you so much, and all the people at Spring Wellness, and Elka moved to Santa Fe, even though she's going back and forth between the two, and Spring Wellness is going to continue on with Ali and Michelle. Ooh, I hope I remember your name right. So great people there, and man, I swear it, naturopathy, my naturopath, that's an amazing system. And the homeopathic stuff that they use, and I noticed when your body starts getting healthier, that you're really like homeopathy, like 5 drops of something, and within a minute, you know, like, oh, that healed me, that helps me. Anyway, so I had decided I was going to do a show in Santa Fe, and I had loved my people in Santa Fe, and I'd been there, but when I was there, I was ending a relationship, and I didn't really, like I was prone to do then. I was like, hide, you know, because don't let people see your pain, don't let people see your suffering. I was playing the game. So I wanted to go back there and connect with my people in Santa Fe before I started the tour. So I had set up shows in Denver at the Circus Collective through a wonderful woman that I had met, Ava Lene, who runs the Rhythm Sanctuary in Denver. Beautiful, amazing community of dancers. And I connected with a group that she connected with me at Circus Collective. We set up some dates, 9 shows in Denver, in a place that was new to them. And 2 weeks before the show, I realized, like, oh, I can rent out space because people want to go to Denver. People need to go to Santa Fe, and a lot of people don't want to fly, and they don't like buses, and they don't want to drive, and, you know, what a great alternative opportunity. So I spread the word in my community, had 2 people decide to say that they would come, Jody Greenland and Pauline Rubin. One was a dancer in my community. The other was I jammed with at my jam night at Laura's house, community Laura. And then I put an ad on Craigslist. And like the last couple of days, right, I was getting nervous. I was like, well, I guess the Craigslist thing didn't work. 2 people came forward, Jalen Malin, a musician, and Tom, gosh, I don't think I know Tom's last name, or don't remember it. I call him Bass Jump Tom. He's a bass jumper. His passion in life is parachuting, but his main, what he likes to do is bass jump. And bass jump, bass stands for something like buildings, antennas, structures, and earth. Like, we're passing one of those big wind generators out in the West Texas on the way to Santa Fe. And he's like, oh, we jump off of those. It's like, what? He's like, yeah, we climb out on the blades when they're locked, and if one of the blades is horizontal like this, those people will break into it. I mean, however, I don't know if break in it really were. They find their way in. They can pick locks. I think he said he could. Sorry, Tom, I'm giving up the ghost. And they walk out to the edge of the blade. He needs 150 feet from the edge of the blade to the ground to not die. 150 feet. Okay. Anyway, but he ended up being a trip. I mean, he talked too much like me, so I resonate with people that talk too much. A million words a minute. And he was great. Jalen was great. Going to Santa Fe. Not really. We went through Balmorhea Springs. We swam in the springs. Stayed in a weird RV park because Balmorhea Springs RV park was closed. And we came into Santa Fe. Stayed in a RV park outside of Santa Fe because it was too late in the evening to go to the one in town. Then had a great spot in town on Cerrillos Road, if you know Santa Fe. It was like right in the middle of town. Had a house concert. It was great at Elka's house. Not that many people showed up, but Elka wasn't really very connected, and it was kind of a last-minute show, and I really just wanted to be in Santa Fe. But it gave me a chance to practice my throwdown show, which is like small show, small carpet, minimal costumes, and people really liked it. And it just kept me in the groove. The next day, we're heading to Denver. Goal was to be there for a Thursday night dance at Ava's Dance Rhythm Sanctuary. Get up in the morning. We stop at I'd been losing a lot of. I had to fill up twice the power steering pump, and it was driving me crazy, and I was afraid I was going to ruin it, run it dry. And so we stopped at a parking lot, and at an O'Reilly's. Walked across the street to the O'Reilly's, and I had turned off the bus and was walking to the rear of the bus, and I hear this air. And I mean, you can sometimes hear little bitty leaks and stuff because it's a big air system, but this was a leak. And I look under there, and sure enough, there's a tear in the airbag. And that's not a good thing, because if the airbag blows, then the bus won't maintain air pressure. Air pressure is how you use brakes. And if the air pressure goes out and you're driving on the highway and you lose air, then all of a sudden the parking brake comes on and you're dead in the water. You can't move anything. You can't, like, if you're on the interstate, it would just stop right in the middle of the road, and that would be disastrous. So I found, through Ralphie, my friend in Santa Fe of Aromaland, shout out to those guys. Go check that business out. It's amazing. They have amazing products. They're moving hard into CBD stuff. And he turns me on to Beto's auto repair. I'm like, God, don't I need a big heavy truck dude and all that? And Beto's like, oh no, we do school buses and blah blah blah. And he fixes it. I'm gonna pause for a minute. How do you pause this? Oh, maybe I can't. You know what? 30 minutes. That's a good long time. So we're in Santa Fe. You know, this is oh my God, are they going to make it? Because there's an airbag that's broken, and the drama and the suspense is going to hold you. And I'm just going to say this is part one, because you can't do all this, and you guys don't want to watch an hour of me blabbing. So maybe 34 minutes is plenty. Love you people from Living Tarot, from Denver, from the parking lot of the Circus Collective, in the bedroom of Lolita, my most sacred partner in this journey. I thank you for watching, and I'm to be continued.